Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschita Deshatarane. All glories to Prabhupada. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaja Patidaram Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhya Namo Namaha. All glories to all the devotees of the Lord. I'd like to begin by thanking one of my most favorite devotees, and I consider a bosom buddy, to use an old 18th century term, Radhacharan Prabhu, for his very erudite, as always, introductory speech today. Actually, he's a very gifted speaker. Well, that's just something Krishna's given him, but it's accented by his realizations, which are there by the mercy of his spiritual master, His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami and Srila Prabhupada. One can have a propensity for something, and it may be working, but when one is blessed by Guru and Gauranga, that activity becomes something quite extraordinary. So Radhacharan has done extraordinary service in the Chinese yatra, following in the footsteps of his spiritual master, like father, like son. So I always miss him, and I always look forward to having his association. One of the best times in my life in the last few years was when I was in the apartment in Russia. We had a lot of fun together and reminisced about our times in France. Vive la France, yatra. So thank you, Radhacharan. I feel very honored, actually, to be a very small and insignificant part of the Chinese yatra. There's many of my godbrothers, and there's many devotees who play a much, much more significant part, but I kind of slipped in the back door somehow, and I'm tasting the fruits of their efforts over many years. But one reason I'm honored to be part of the Chinese yatra is I know how important that yatra is to Srila Prabhupada. We often hear about Prabhupada's exploits in America. We all know, we've discussed so many times Prabhupada's arrival in Boston, then New York, and then so forth and so on. And we often hear about Prabhupada's interest in Russia, so much so that Prabhupada himself went there during the Russian communist era. Prabhupada went to Moscow. There's so much, we hear so much about how Prabhupada was interested in Russia, but I believe that Prabhupada's interest was equal with China. Perhaps he didn't have time in his lifetime to go there personally, but we know he went to Hong Kong, but something a little different. But I believe the China mission was very much part of Prabhupada's plan on this planet. There's three countries that I see, probably the most powerful countries, or will become the most powerful countries in the world. America, Russia, because it's so big and has such ambitious plans, and China. You can see China's becoming, economically a very powerful force in the world, and they're also expanding. So I think Prabhupada saw that, America, Russia, and China. Because Prabhupada was Triganakal, it means that a pure devotee can see the past, the present, and the future. When we were young, we were wondering, why is Prabhupada going to Russia, the evil empire? What can we do there? But he had that vision for the future. And I believe that he had that future for China as well. And we'll see that in the future. History knows that China once had a very unique culture. Now the whole world's like the westernized. Everyone's wearing the same clothes, eating the same fast foods, watching the same news. It's like one world Kali Yuga culture. But at a different time, different countries of the world, they had unique cultures. And of course, China did for thousands of years, a very unique culture. And I think that as a result, China will one day be able to embrace this culture because it's a cultural nation in essence. One day, China will embrace this culture of Krishna consciousness. It's something unique to say that a country has a culture. What culture does America have? America's a brand new country. The only culture is the cowboys and Indians. That's not very much of a culture. But China has a great history. And I think it's in the genes, in the DNA. And I think that one day, maybe not, of course, probably not within our lifetimes, but someday China will be one of those countries, I believe, that will embrace Krishna consciousness. And therefore, Prabhupada saw the potential. And how do I know that he saw that potential and he believed in that China could be a great nation of Krishna consciousness? Because he sent his best man to go there to inaugurate the preaching. Just like he felt it was necessary that he personally go to America to ignite the Hare Krishna explosion. He felt he had to personally go to Russia to plant the seed. So Prabhupada was getting elderly and he had so much responsibility, but I think China was still on his mind. So he sent his best man, His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami. I knew TKG, as we called him, very well. We were friends. He was my senior, but he called me his friend, and he often asked me to come to where he was and be with him for days or weeks at a time. India, Oxford, so many places like that. So I knew him, and he was my Sankirtan hero, and he was a visionary, and he had a very deep love for Sri Vrindavan Dham. He one of the first, you could say, with his series of lectures on Vrindavan way back in the 80s. So he was beyond his time, you could say. He was beyond his time. And Prabhupada had so much faith in him. He was always sending him to the new places, the difficult places to begin Krishna consciousness. So this was actually Tamal Krishna Maharaj's greatest challenge. And he took it up. Prabhupada sent his best man. You don't send your best man to some, engagement that doesn't have any real significance. Just like Krishna sent Prabhupada to the material world, because we consider that Prabhupada
was disconnected.
is the best man. So just as Krishna sent Prabhupada here, Prabhupada sent Tamal Krishna Maharaj to China, knowing the potential of that country. So therefore, I know that it's a very, very important mission, the Chinese mission, a difficult mission, but that's good, because when you're successful, the victory tastes even sweeter. We say, Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtan. So, nowadays you can go on the street in America, no one's going to throw tomatoes at you or, call you bad names and, oh, it's the Hare Krishnas, So it's kind of easy, and that can kind of create a atmosphere of almost complacency or procrastination, but not in China. There's a lot of, we don't have to go into details. We know that the difficulties are there. So that will make the victories in the future very, very sweet. And who will be tasting that sweetness? Srila Prabhupada. Because that's his desire, that China embraces Krishna consciousness. It almost seems impossible now in some ways. But, history is like that. You can't judge something by the immediate. I'd like to see, of course, the same progress that we've seen in Russia. Now, one time Prabhupada said, in America, Hare Krishna is a household word. I don't know how you translate that in Russian or in Chinese. Hare Krishna is a household word. And in Russia, it's true also. Everyone in Russia knows Hare Krishna now, for better or worse. So we would like to see that in China, but that hasn't necessarily happened yet. It's a big country and various obstacles. But we should understand that very often valuable things takes time to mature. Like certain nuts, like peanuts, you plant them and a few months later you've got peanuts. But macadamias or some other types of nuts, they take years to mature. And they're the king of nuts. So in the same way, it's going to take time for Krishna consciousness to mature in that country, but that's understandable. And we accept that. Because very often there's that saying, the best things come last. The best things come last. So that's my understanding, my limited understanding of the Chinese yatra. It's a very, very special yatra. All the yatras are important, but Prabhupada focused on the big ones, America, Russia, and China. No one can say Prabhupada did not focus on China. He sent his best man there. So I'm looking forward to coming back as soon as possible, as soon as the pandemic finishes and seems to be easing, even in your country. Then I think the first place I would go was Beijing. I'd fly to Beijing and I'd stay with Radhacharan in his apartment and we would speak le français. Bonjour, monsieur, comment ça va? C'est bien, oui. My expensive French. And we talk about all times, but we talk more about the future and the great vision of China. So you're all blessed to be born there. Someone can say, well, I'd rather be born in Germany or Italy. Well, Krishna consciousness is going on there. It's happening. But still, China's a pioneer. It's still a pioneer area for Krishna consciousness. And preachers, that's what they love to do. They like to go to where the biggest challenge is. So they can one day go to their spiritual master and say, Guru Maharaj, mission accomplished. What's my next mission? Like that. And you can be recognized. If you can do something big there, of course, don't try too big right now, but if you can do something there to add to the Krishna conscious history, that will be recognized. That will be recognized. So feel blessed that you're there in that country and that you have the opportunity to slowly, very carefully, according to the directions of your seniors and your authorities, things have to be done very conscientiously there. Follow your authorities, work closely with your authorities, and know that ISKCON is the best medium for spreading Krishna consciousness in that country, this great organization, working under Prabhupada's blessings and the directions of your authorities, and do whatever is necessary to slowly, but surely awaken the Chinese people to who they really are. They're all eternal servants of Krishna. And you will be blessed. And who knows, you may even make it back to Godhead quicker for the wonderful service you've done there in awakening people to Krishna consciousness. So I'll be back. I'll be back by Krishna's grace. I have so many memories of my time there. This is the watch that several of the Chinese devotees purchased for me. I wear it, I see it, I remember all of you, and I look forward to coming back. And I look forward to hearing your offerings today. As I love you, you love me. That's reciprocal because we all love Srila Prabhupada, where he's the master at whose feet all the masters sit. So we're part of the same greater family of God, spiritual family. So I think probably you like to hear me speak, but I love to hear you speak as well. Your appreciation for my humble service to my spiritual master, to act as your spiritual guide one day to his lotus feet. So I'll let you speak now. I can sit here 6, 7, 8 hours, whatever time it takes, and we'll just churn the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, this nectarian ocean of devotional service to Srila Prabhupada and to our previous acharyas, to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the divine couple, Sri Sri Radha and Krishna, and our beloved Sri Vrindavan Dham. What is that? In previous Vyasa Pujas, that this is basically all I do now, is speak about.
Yeah. So please allow me to explain to the devotees that is right now they need to select the Chinese channel to hear the translation. Hare Krishna， 亲爱的大家，所以我们今天的献导文的这一部分呢就结束了。所以现在呢，Guru Maharaj 呢会给我们讲最后这一部分的讲课，然后呢，请大家再回到中文的这个频道，然后呢，请听翻译。谢谢。
Okay.
Please.
Thank you, everyone, very much for your very beautiful and heartfelt Vyasa Puja offerings. I can understand that you all worked on them for some time and put your whole hearts into them as an expression of your gratitude for my guidance in your spiritual lives. I very much enjoy this service because I consider being a spiritual master for me is a service to my guru, to continue the wonderful teachings that he brought to the West, and as best I can to set an example for all of you to follow. So just like, you know, you're doing Artik or you're cleaning the house or you're translating or something, you have some seva. So for me, this is my service to my spiritual master, to bring you to his lotus feet. And I've said previously, and I'll say it again, that I have many services in this movement, some of them very big, like the Polish Festival Tour, the Summer Festival Tour, the Woodstock Festival you've heard about in Poland and Europe, and other big events that I put on. But I know because I've been nourished by my spiritual master, and therefore I'm able to go on with confidence back home, back to the spiritual world. I know that I'm obliged to build that same confidence in you, that you can get out of this tabernacle, this entanglement of material life, and go back home where we belonged in the spiritual world. So really, this is my most important service. You, all of you. That's my most important service, because out of the 7 billion people in this world, you know, you're some of the few that have come forward expressing a desire to revive your original loving relationship with Krishna. You know, we know that, and we're enjoying that, and we have our association, but it's rare. It's actually very rare that someone can understand the futility of material existence and want to take up spiritual life, and take up spiritual life in the way that we do it. We're not impersonalists. We don't want to merge with the Supreme. We're not fruit of, you know, we're not asking anything from Krishna. We just want to serve his lotus feet. We're learning to serve selflessly. This is very rare. It's very, very rare for a human being to understand the ultimate purpose of life. It's very rare amongst, well, let's say it's very rare for a person to become pious. It's very rare for that pious person to take a spiritual life in earnest. It's very rare for such a person taking up spiritual life to come to Bhakti Yoga and want to serve selflessly for the Lord. So you're all very rare. You're a precious commodity in this world of in the material world. So we have to take good care of you. We have to take very good care of you. Many times Prabhupada would often say that's our most important service, to take care of the devotees. He said the preaching will go on, but those who come are special souls and we have to take care of them. So I really enjoy this service. I enjoy preparing my lectures. I enjoy speaking my lectures. I enjoy trying to set a good example. I enjoy my infrequent contacts with all of you. I'd like to be with all of you all the time. That would be very nice. I'd like to be with all of you all the time. And you're thinking, yes, Gurudev, that would be so nice. But that is the point. That by cultivating our Krishna consciousness and inspiring each other and helping each other and teaching each other, we will be together all the time, but not here. Who wants to stay here in the material world? One time Prabhupada said, don't be surprised when things go wrong. He said, be surprised when things go right. That's material life. Don't be surprised when things go wrong. Oh, why is everything going wrong? That's the material world. Be surprised when things go right. So we can't all be together all the time here, but we can in the spiritual world. And we're developing that desire. We just want to be with Vaishnavas. We just want to be with our Guru Maharaj. We just want to be with Krishna, with Radha and Krishna. And if you keep on hankering like that and practicing Krishna consciousness sincerely, then in due course of time, you wake up one day and you'll be in the spiritual world, which is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. It can happen. It can really happen. Where every step is a dance, every word is a song, and there's a Hare Krishna festival every day, and no one can stop it, because that's all there is to do up there. So we will be together eternally. Prabhupada did say we would have our ISKCON in the spiritual world. But we have to earn that right. So we have to chant our rounds, follow the principles, study Prabhupada's books, associate with devotees, try to bring other people into the fold. That's our duty as Vaishnavas. We're not satisfied to be liberated alone. So as we can, time, place, and circumstance, we should welcome other people. Today I was so happy to see new faces. A few devotees asked if they could become disciples, and I wholeheartedly agreed, aspiring disciples. So we can see that in China, people are coming forward to embrace Krishna consciousness. So it looks like we won't be a big group in the spiritual world. We're going to be a small group. We're going to be a really big group in the spiritual world. And that will make Srila Prabhupada happy. So please, everyone, continue as you are. There's no secret. We're not withholding any secrets how to become Krishna conscious. Prabhupada has given us everything to become pure devotees. It does take some time, so you have to be a little patient. You have to be tolerant of, the difficulties that material life throws at you. Don't be surprised when things go wrong. Just tolerate, but know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. And what is that light? It's the Brahman. But what is the Brahman? The Brahman's coming from Krishna. The Brahman is Krishna's effulgence. So there's just a saying we have in English. There's light at the end of the dark tunnel. And in Krishna consciousness, that light is the effulgence coming from the transcendental form of Krishna. Beyond that light is the beautiful threefold bending form of Shyam Sundar with his lotus eyes going to all the way to his ears, with his sesame-shaped nose, with his bimba red lips, with his threefold bending form, his keshava, his long black hair flowing down, and his yellow dhoti, and his Vaijayanti garland of 5 kinds of flowers going down to his ankles. That's our goal. And Krishna's waiting for us. You've seen the picture, the painting of Gopakumar when he gets back to the spiritual world, Brihad Bhagavatamritam. When we get there, what's happening? There's a whole nother life. And who's there to greet us? Krishna will embrace you. So what does this material world have to offer compared to that? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. So the duty of the Guru is to convince you of that and present to you the positive alternative. For so many years I was traveling, 50 years, telling people about the futility of material life. And then I found myself in Vrindavan when the pandemic started. I thought, let me give to my disciples not just the bad news of this world, but let me give to my disciples the good news of the spiritual world. Because a preacher has 2 duties: to talk about how nasty material life is and get people to agree, and then to reveal to them the beauty of the spiritual world. So it's not that you just, when you see the spiritual world, no. You see through the eyes of Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. But it's real. So then I took up speaking about Vrindavan. And I thought maybe I'll give 10 or 12 lectures. But Vrindavan, the glories of Vrindavan are unlimited. We often say there's 60 billion holy places there. So now I've given not 12, but 176 lectures about Braj. I don't know how many have been translated into Chinese. Donna Kelly can tell me later. But we have a long way to go. So rather than hear the news of this world, let's keep our ears open and always hear the news of the spiritual world. And that way we'll always be enlivened. We'll always be enthusiastic. We'll never get dragged down by the material existence. Even if things are not going so well around us, if we're always hearing and chanting about the glories of Srila Prabhupada, the glories of Radha and Krishna, the glories of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, no matter where we are, we'll always be inspired on our journey back to the spiritual world. So that's my duty, that's my service, to keep flooding you with the nectar of Krishna consciousness through transcendental sound vibration. Keep drinking deep. We say, keep drinking deep this nectar of Krishna consciousness. This is the gift of the Lord. He came here. He showed these pastimes 5,000 years ago. It wasn't made up. This is not made up stories. These are pastimes. Krishna came and he just, like a traveling transcendental circus, he just showed the bliss of the spiritual world. It was recorded and it's been repeated down to the present day. So we have all this nectar to absorb ourselves in. And just by hearing it, our hearts are purified, and the love for Krishna that's dormant in our heart, it becomes awoken. So I'll keep, by Prabhupada's grace, I'll keep pouring out the nectar. You open your ears and drink that nectar. And day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year, we will make very steady progress back to not just Vaikuntha, but the topmost planet in Vaikuntha, Goloka Vrindavan. And one day, all these things I'm talking about, they'll be happening right before our eyes. That's the beauty. Well, no one needs to speak about them. We'll just see them. Not only we will see them, but we'll be participating in them. Wow. All for that day. So, yes, as soon as possible, I'll come to China. We don't have to see each other on Zoom, this medium. It's pretty good. At least we can see each other, but we can see each other face to face, and I can eat some of those cakes that you're showing me on the Zoom conference. It's so cruel. I can see them, and I appreciate the fact that you made them for me, but I can't taste them. It's like almost being mean. You're showing me this cake, and I can't eat it. So keep your culinary skills up and keep improving them. And when I come, we'll take prasadam up to the neck. We'll take so much prasadam that afterwards we waddle like ducks. You've seen ducks, how they walk like this? We'll take so much prasadam. And then we'll have the big kirtan, Maha Mahotsav, like big kirtan. Somewhere have big wampers and mridangas, and we'll dance for hours. Then we'll sit down and we'll have more Vrindavan Katha. And then the next day, we'll do the same thing all over. Beijing and Shanghai and all the towns there. Hopefully we can just travel widely, and I can see all of you and sit down and hear your stories about how you came to Krishna consciousness, what you did. We'll talk face to face, as we will in the spiritual world. So we're in this for the long haul. We're in this all together. I will never abandon you. I'll be with you whenever you need me. And I'll help you with your problems and your difficulties. If you have some doubts, that's okay. We'll dispel those doubts with transcendental knowledge, and we'll dance and chant together in kirtan as we conquer the ignorance of this world with the sublime knowledge that Srila Prabhupada has given us in Krishna consciousness. So I haven't eaten today. I'm really hungry because I saw so many cakes and so many fruits. And I saw that special halwa they make in South China. I was thinking, I'd really like to taste that. So I send all of you my love. Every one of you, every single one of you. Spiritual Master has no favorites. He accepts each disciple with a loving heart and a desire to help them and liberate them back to the spiritual world. So I'll take your leave now. I think they have some khichdi for me. I'm going to tell my cooks, where's the cakes? You can't do that to me. They can't show me all these cakes and these delicious feasts and everything. And then I go to the table, there's some khichdi. So I hope today they made some extra preparations. But believe me, when I come, we'll eat up to the neck, we'll dance in ecstasy, and we'll have nice Krishna Katha. That's my gift, endless gift to all of you. So I'm missing you. You're just missing one person, me. I'm missing so many of you. This is the difficulty in being guru. They asked me, Guru Maharaj, what's the difficulty in being a guru? Is it the karma? I said, no. It's that I miss all my disciples. That's my difficulty. I miss all of you so much. I just love to be with you all the time. But we will be. This pandemic can't last forever. Nothing lasts forever in this world. It will come and it will go, and we'll be back together in loving service to Srila Prabhupada. So please keep safe. This pandemic's not over yet. Please keep safe, keep well, and keep strict in your Krishna consciousness, and that will bring us together one day in loving service to Prabhupada. So thank you. Thank you for all the wonderful offerings. And I'm going to get them, as Donna Kaylee said, in written form. So I'll read them again, and I will remember each one of you with love and devotion. So please accept all my love, accept all my blessings, and accept the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and the entire Guru Parampara for your progress. So Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Yes, I'll see you sooner than later.